working on it, we're like, man, that's going to sound great on my kid's iPad or something like that. Because we're like, what are we doing here? So anytime we can help improve and raise the level that the home viewer gets to experience what we've done, because as you can see, it changes the whole visual. The best screen in the world, but if you don't have the sound to complement it, you're missing half the experience. So the challenge is how do you bring that scale down to a more reasonable size in an average home? And so, I think that answers the question. If not, I can.
It does. Thank you so much. Right, for Akiyama-san, first question for you. Sony has taken a thoughtful and measured approach to RGB technology since pioneering the space with Qualia. What were the key breakthroughs or challenges that needed to be overcome to bring a lineup to market today that truly meets Sony's quality standards?
Okay. As I explained to you, we still have engineers who developed the Korea and the XR1, and we had a deep discussion with them in first stage of our development, and we have decided two things. One, we can't achieve the true RGB with conventional Bravia backlight control, and the second, we must develop whole new backlight control algorithms from scratch. So Bravia 9 Mark II and Bravia 7 Mark II backlight control algorithm is brand new for true RGB. Plus, we have strong know-how for RGB LED control, and we had already known RGB backlight control difficulty many years ago. So that's why we could install many improvement ideas to the device and control the algorithm.
Thank you so much, Akiyama-san. Right, another question for Andrew. I'm curious how a sound professional sees the shift in end-user equipment. Has this influenced the production process? For example, are recordings or mixes approached differently due to the transition from cinemas to living rooms? And do audio specialists now mix more with soundbars in mind rather than the dedicated surround systems?
Yes, but no. So we always start in the maximum, so we're always mixing still for the ultimate. So we traditionally, we're pretty much always mixing in a Dolby Atmos environment. And we know that we're going to have to deliver on different formats. So we do scale it down and we do home mixes. And we're actually discussing whether, do we start doing mixes for maybe even smaller devices these days. But right now we do a home mix. So we do scale things down. And what happens is, it's usually the dynamic range, some frequency response, but usually the dynamic range. So what happens at home, people don't necessarily listen at the same theatrical level. So it's a lower level, and what's comfortable. So you lower the level. So then what happens is the big stuff is still big, but the quiet stuff kind of disappears. So then we end up raising the things that disappear. So in effect, we're still decreasing the dynamic range per se, the range from quiet to loud. But so in answer, yes, we do think about it, but not when we are mixing theatrically. We're still mixed for the ultimate, and then scale it down.
Thank you so much. Very clear. Right. So another question for Akiyama-san. RGB Mini LED is currently being marketed as a major revolution. What can it really do better than OLED, and what can't it do better?
Yeah, I'm backlight engineer, but I love OLED also. So I think both OLED and LCD have strong point and weak point. So for example, brilliant star of OLED is amazing, but our true RGB brightness of middle to high APL-C is also amazing. APL is average picture level. So OLED cannot output such a big brightness in middle to high APL-C. So only our true RGB can output such a bright and brilliant image, even if high APL-C. So I think efficiency of I think the efficiency of brightness is almost better than OLED.
Great. Now, Andrew, you mentioned Dolby Atmos, and actually I got one question about that as well. So, how important do you think Dolby Atmos has been in the process of adapting cinema surround sound for the living room?
So Dolby Atmos was long in development, and in fact we were very involved. A bunch of us in Hollywood, they'd call us up and say, "Hey, after work, can you guys swing by the lab, Dolby Labs?" It was right there, like Burbank area, and they'd just give us pizza and some beers or whatever, and they'd say, "Okay, what do you think about this?" And we'd all be like, "I don't know. How about this?" And they had different values. So it was a lot of involvement from the community, and what came out of that, besides the system that we ultimately have today, is the scale, how it scales downward. Because what's different about Atmos is that you're not tied to the speaker system. It scales to, it intelligently can scale from a full-blown 64 channel to, if this theater only has half that, it knows how to interpret where that image should be, that sonic image should be. So it really scales down nicely to the different formats, and the algorithms, excuse me, it enables us to scale it to the home environment very, very well. We still will season to taste. We go, oh, the music feels too heavy in the back, and the sounds, the background's lost the, but we're able to adjust it accordingly. But it's an essential. I love Atmos and everything that comes with it. It's great.
Thank you.
Again, I don't know if I answered the question.
It has. Thank you so much. Akiyama-san, another one for you. How can an ordinary viewer, an ordinary person, tell if RGB mini LED has been implemented well? And how can they tell if it was just marketing?
True RGB have many advantages. So if we compare with Bravia 9 and the true RGB, you can find difference easily. Of course, Bravia 9 is a product that we have big confidence, but sometimes you can see, for example, white blooming. So, but blooming of Bravia 9 Max have color, so you feel more natural, and you can find it. And if we compare with competitors, I'm not sure how to find the RGB is well or not, because it depends on the target TVs. But I'm not sure who give us that question. But of course, we can find it if we check it together. Yeah.
Yes, let's check straight after the Q&A session. Right, we're running out of time, so I will do one more question for Andrew. Obviously, we got so many, but we have to go and do the product demonstration afterwards.
Okay.
So last one, Andrew, for you. Are there moments when the confined space of a living room allows for something that wouldn't work in a cinema auditorium?
I would think an intimate scene like I played, I think the intimacy of scenes, are going to feel closer, and the breaths and the nuances and those little details that might feel so big on the screen and loud, because filling up 300 people theater versus in your own living room, it can be intimate and delicate. There's so many great stories being told that way. I think that is a great advantage in many ways.
Great, thank you. Thank you everyone so much. This concludes the Q&A session. So just a quick note on housekeeping before we proceed. So you've all received badges today in different colors. Those will indicate which groups you will be in. So we'll go now for the product demonstrations for certain groups, but just a reminder please that everything that you've seen so far today and everything that you will see later is under embargo until the 27th of May, 5 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. Central European time. Now, can I please ask groups red, green, and blue? Yes.